Okay, today I'm working on my 2017 Golf Sportwagen, and I'm going to be doing the spark plugs. It's a pretty easy job. I got these online via a vendor, and I'll leave the link in the description. So the first thing we do is take off the shroud. That's easy, just pop it off from these attachment points right here. And now we got to take off the coil packs, and so there's some electrical connections back here. So what I'm going to do is pop off this electrical connector in the back here, take off these wires here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pop these connections off the back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should allow me to move all of this wiring out of the way. I might have to snip this connection right back here to get me some room. And I'll show you that in a second. Okay, to get this electrical connector off the back, you just have to pry up this, well, push down first, and then pull up on this little tab with a screwdriver, and then pull up on the whole unit. So it'll pop right off. These nuts are 10 millimeter. These clips that go on the coil packs, you push down on the top right here and push it in, and then pull up. There, pop. You'll hear a little pop. And there's a little clip holding the wiring harness onto this tube right down here. So you just have to pop that off. Just snip this little zip tie on the back. It'll give you a little bit of extra room to pull back that wiring harness. You don't have to do that. You can tie it back without doing that, but I'm gonna snip that and then reattach it with a new zip tie when I'm done. Next, you remove the screws holding the nuts holding the coil packs on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 10 millimeter as well. These are actually bolts with this nut on the top, so it'll come out like that with the extension on there. So to remove the coil packs, it's not too difficult. Mine aren't stuck on there too bad. You just have to get your fingers underneath the head of the coil pack and just kind of wiggle it back and forth as you pull up. There you go. It'll come out like that. Alright, to pull the spark plugs, just get your 5/8 spark plug wrench. And they should not be that tight. They should pop off pretty quick. And then pull them out. They should, it helps if you have a magnetized spark plug wrench. Socket, 5/8. Here's the old spark plugs, and they look as they should. So as long as none of them look much different than the other, they're all evenly brown and evenly worn. Okay, new spark plugs come all pre-gapped, and so I'm just going to throw them inside my magnetic socket. Make sure, I'll do a quick scan of them, make sure that they didn't get damaged in shipping or manufacturing, just to make sure there's no cracks in the housing or that the electrode's not bent or anything weird. But then I'll thread them in all by hand first. Okay, torque it down to about 30 newton meters, or about 22 foot-pounds. Okay, next put the coil packs in. So I just slide them back down and give them a little wiggle as you press them in. And then put the bolts back in. I don't know that there's a torque spec for these bolts, but I would not tighten them down a lot. They're just there to hold the coil pack in place so that it seats, and this is plastic on here, so just tighten them down until they're firm in there. That's it. Okay, the last thing to do is just put the wiring harness back on. This will just clip in place, and you'll hear them snap in when they're fully seated. Put the nuts back on the top of each of the 4 bolts. Connect the electrical connection in the back there, right there. And then you can put another zip tie on this wire here if you undid it, and I'm going to cut that excess off there. That's it. Just put the shroud back on the top of the engine and you're done. It's a pretty easy job. This engine currently has 41,000 miles on it. I think it's a recommended service at 40,000 miles. And it's a pretty easy job and not too expensive for the spark plugs. I'll leave the link in the description for where I got mine.